Monster to go off. Um, TSM bans Elise again. It's Kiri's winning his champion at 2-1, and then they banned Callista off of double lift. Not bad there. So did not want him on it. His cog was he played well on cog, but he was not the best on it. They just couldn't carry it. Then Nidalee, good typical Nidalee ban from TSM. They just don't want to play against that champion. Kiri again. Kiri's 3 wins, 3 jungle wins, have been on Elise and Nidalee. 2-1 on Elise and 1-1 on Nidalee, as we just saw. So they're targeting Kiri at this point. Now the third ban. This is gonna be an interesting one, and it's Gangplank. That's the 7th time. 7. A blue side ban. TSM does not play Gangplank. That is a wasted ban. Now, with TSM, it's probably like, huh, interesting. There's a ton of power picks available. So let's ban Kog'Maw. So let's talk about this Kog'Maw ban for a second. Doublelift had just played it, and he was carrying super hard. It was just the fact that he just didn't have the support from the rest of his team to fully carry that game, and the fact that they blew everything on Rush like 4 fights in a row, and that's why they lost the game. Apollo has only played 3 ADCs, and 1 of them was banned. So that leaves Lucian and Ezreal. We all know Ezreal's really not in the meta right now. So that leaves 1 ADC he's probably going to play, and that's Lucian. So that ban should have either been targeted at something good, like topside on Billy Boss, like maybe the Malphite, which he's going to pick at some point in this draft, or on like a Lulu Lissandra, or even Lucian. I mean, again, Doublelift can play Lucian. That's not the problem. That's not the point. It is the fact that Apollo has shown that he doesn't play many ADCs. So that was where I think their first misstep. The first 2 bans, perfect. Nerf Kiri, or get Kiri out of there. Like make him play something he does not want to play, or something he hasn't even won on. So let's go. First pick, and they show the Corki. Corki's not too bad of a pick. Always a good flex pick. Most likely going in the mid lane to Shifter. Everyone can play Corki. Corki's solid in the mid lane. A lot of the mixed damage that he does is good. Good poke comp. Good, just good all around mid laner at the moment. He'll probably see the nerf bat fairly soon though. So now with that, there's a ton of power picks up. You have Alistar. You have Gangplank's not. They don't play it anyway. And then we go back to, well, let's see. We got Lulu, we got Lissandra, we got Alistar, there's so many picks available right now. It's nuts. And they go with Lulu and Gragas. Again, Gragas. Okay, before this game, Gragas did not have a very good record in the NALCS. I think he was 1-3 at this point. But overall, after the weekend, Gragas was 5-6 between NA and EU, and he was, I think, 2-2. Yeah, it was 2-2 in EU, and then 3-4. So all this hype around Gragas, he's good for the disengage. His clear is better. His ganks are pretty solid with not terrible CC. I guess it's just not translating very well. But Sven just wants to play it, so if he wants to play it, let him play it. But I don't know. I just feel like there's better junglers out there for him. He could play the Rek'Sai. He could play. He could still play Graves. There's just different. Even the Kindred. Not a bad choice. But the Lulu's not bad. Again, power pick. It can go top side. It can go middle. Bjergsen can play it. Haunter can play it. Not a bad pick. So they showed their jungler and potential, and they showed a flex. So Kiri and so they hover Ali Lucian, and they take Ali Lucian. So Apollo gets his ADC, and Kiwi Kid gets his support. Now, I think that this was a slight mistake from TSM side for letting Ali through, because they had a shot at it, unless they were really scared. But they shouldn't have been scared of Kiri, because they took away his 2 best junglers, and I don't like the fact that they took the Gragas for that reason. They lost the Ali. Lucian isn't a big deal. They should have banned it instead of Kog'Maw. That's just me. So they gave up Ali and Lucian. Good bot lane. That's fine. That's probably what they wanted to play with no Callista. So it's just the Gragas pick at the time they did it. I didn't like it unless they must have valued it that high. So so then oop, let's go a little bit back more. So that shows TSM locks in Kate Braum. Now again, we still don't know where this Lulu's going. Kate, I am not a fan on Doublelift at all. Not a Doublelift champion. She's just doesn't translate well to his kit. You can't make plays on Caitlyn like you can make on Illusion, like you can make on a Callista, like you can make on just anyone that's not Caitlyn. Caitlyn is just very just poke, and she does. I mean, she does damage, like especially with the if you get the double or even the triple headshot. If you get like a trap and then a 90 caliber into your actual headshot, so she can do damage. It's just the fact that she's just like she doesn't scale very well into the late game like that. And I don't know, Double just can't make the plays on Caitlyn like he make on other ADs. So again, but Caitlyn into Lucian is a very, very, very good pick. Uh, Lucian has 500 range. I think it's 500 or 515. It's really low, and Caitlyn has almost 700 range, so she can just bully Lucian really hard. So again, this immediately shows me that the Dig might want to lane swap because of the Lucian alley, just because Lucian and Decade is tough. So now into the next round of picks. Last two picks coming out for Dig. Kiri is going to be on Kindred, which again is someone who he's played, but I was really surprised by this pick into the Gragas because Gragas can kind of like counter, like he almost countered himself in team fights in a way, unless he burns the barrel early, like because say like he saves barrel and they chunk someone, then he ults, then you just ult them out of the Kindred ult. So that was an interesting choice. He showed that he was pretty good on it, at least in this game. I don't know what it is about Kindred players and pressing R though, because I've noticed a lot that Kindred dies or someone dies, and Kindred still has ult at the end of the fight. Um, and then Billy Boss goes Malphite. It's a big pick for him. Big tanky. Even with Poppy up, he shows the Malphite, huge engage, and they just have a ton of CC between. They have Corki knockback if he chooses to go in with package, all of the alley CC, and then obviously Malphite Unstoppable Force is really good right now. So solid pick. Now TSM, they have this have a pretty good comp at the moment. They know exactly where Dig is going. They have Lulu, Gragas, I guess, okay, Kate Braum. So they have a really good dive comp at the moment, to be honest. Between Gragas, like Gragas goes into Braum, into Q and ult, and then Kate just sitting back doing damage. Lulu buffing anyone. So this is the pick I wanted. I wanted the Lissandra because that gave them engage, and it gave her a good matchup in the mid lane with Lulu on in the middle, and then Lissandra in the top side. It's a fair matchup top side. It's not exactly like it's not it's not amazing that he's gonna dump on him, but it's just it's a fair matchup. And then another thing that's available, the Poppy's available. Haunch is pretty good at Poppy. He played really good against C9. It was just the fact that they just tried to kill Rush, and that was the wrong thing to do. So Poppy was available. Probably would have been good for the alley. Would have stopped the alley engage. Wouldn't have stopped Malphite, but it would have stopped Lucian as well, and Corki. So there's a lot of dive, and even Kindred. Wow, Poppy would have been great. Poppy and or Lissandra. Both of those are good champions to pick into this, and they're two champions that you want to also kind of like not go into a lane swap. So I mean, you can lane swap them, but it also helps. Like if you play standard lanes with that, they probably win that game fairly easily. But they go and they switch to a champion which I despise at the moment, and that's Quinn, because I think she's useless. And let me tell you why I think Quinn is useless. One, she doesn't beat Malphite, not by any means. She doesn't have the damage early on to beat Malphite. Malphite's just too tanky. Malphite can stun her and just do a ton of damage for no reason because he's Malphite. So, and another thing with that is, this almost forces TSM to go into a lane swap, and you don't want a lane swap with this TSM comp right now because you want Lucian and Kate to face each other because Lucian's just gonna get dumped on. That's it. So this they had a like if they had picked the Liz or the Poppy, that's a super good skirmishy comp that they pick. But instead, they went with this. I mean, like Quinn is super mobile. Quinn does have damage if you can proc you get all the whatever they're called, the stacks on them, and then does have the crit obviously. But just Quinn you have to split push on, and they kind of just kept in all game they kind of just kept her away from Malphite because they knew it was a bad matchup which they knowingly picked into. So um, that's what I was surprised with. And early game they were dominating them. They never really got a full on 5v5. And once they did get full on 5v5, they just got absolutely massacred because Quinn was useless. She didn't do anything. He got picked off multiple times. Haunter didn't. That was definitely Haunter's one of his worst games, up there with that Mundo game against CLG. And he never split push. He can never shove a wave. Even with the mobility, the insane mobility, he never had the ward coverage, never had anything enough to actually successfully split push. And then, excuse me. So, so even though TSM was up 4 5k at around 25 minutes, they could never do anything with that lead because Haunter was so far behind. Haunter had farm, but Haunter didn't have anything else. And Haunter could never face Billy Boss. He could never go against Kiri. Kiri even rivaled him. So that this is where I think they lost. One, the Kog'Maw ban, because I don't think they should have been scared. I mean, leaving Corki's up is fine. If you leave Corki and Kog'Maw up, 9 times out of 10 they pick Corki, and then you get Cog and Lulu, and then you take your lane swap, and you're fine. So they should have banned Lucian, forced Apollo onto something else, forced him to play Corki and Ship to replace something else, anything. And then secondly was the awful Quinn pick, because everyone seems to be picking Quinn into Malphite, and Quinn doesn't win that matchup by any means, and people just keep picking it, and they keep doing a lane swap, and they keep hoping that Quinn split pushes, and it just does not work because Malphite is so low econ that it doesn't matter, because you get 2 items on Malphite, and then you just ult into a team fight, and you guys can win the team fight. Quinn needs items, and Quinn needs the split push. So TSM picks this really skirmishy comp with, and then there's really no true carry on the team either. Quinn needs items, and Quinn needs the split push. Not really going to carry. Gragas, I'm not a fan of at the moment. Not going to carry. It's hard to carry on Lulu. I will say that. Carry on Lulu is hard. You have to have the right team, and you have to be playing against the right team. So, and then double could have carried on Kate. I just don't like double on Kate, and especially with the picks. So that's where I think they went wrong in the comp. Was definitely not only the Quinn pick, but the Cog ban. So, I mean, if you force Apollo on Ezreal, that changes up a lot. Like it changes up his laning, it changes up a ton of stuff. But so that was just a really odd stuff. I feel like they were trying to play too much into the 6.3 hype with the Gragas, that they just kind of they went away from what they were playing and what they won 4 games in a row on. Like they picked these awesome skirmishy comps, even though 2 of the games were rough against Echo Fox and Renegades. Then they just went with this this weird split push kind of disengaged kind of stuff, and it just didn't work. For how much ahead they were early on, their team fighting was never going to be better than what Dignitas brought to the table, and that showed. So hopefully they fix that, and we'll see what happens. But thank you guys for watching. If you guys liked it, just shoot me a like. You can follow me on Twitter, which we'll have in the link. If you guys want to see me review a game, pick and ban, just let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to take a look at it. It could be any league. I mean, I watch everything except for Brazil, but I watch pretty much everything else. So thank you guys for checking me out, and I will see you guys later.